Welcome to Green's annual Veterans Day ceremony. And for our many visitors, we welcome you to the City of Green. I am Mike Elkins with the City of Green, and we thank you all for coming to honor and celebrate all veterans. Special thanks to the Queen of Heaven Church and Father David Durkee for opening up this facility today on a blustery day for our annual Veterans Day event. Of course, we would much rather be next door at the park. However, for everyone's comfort, we've moved indoors. As we begin our ceremony, we are honored to have with us today Mayor Gerard Neugebauer, Father David Durkee of the Queen of Heaven Church, the Green High School, ROTC Cadet Dominic Stewart, and distinguished guests, Ohio Army National Guard First Lieutenant Dan Pollock, seated to my right, and Army Sergeant First Class Ashley White, also seated to my right. Also joining us today, presenting our nation's colors, is the Green Fire Honor Guard and Green High School Junior ROTC under the direction of ROTC advisors Lieutenant Colonel Colleen Van Natta and Master Sergeant Justin Spade. We want to recognize two members of the Green Fire Honor Guard, Veteran Dave Burbridge of the United States Air Force and Brandon Field of the U.S. Army. Honoring our veterans and their families in song are Green High School seniors Rochelle Nicely and Lily Howdyshell. And performing taps for us today are two Green High School musicians, Charlie Campbell and Case Spence. Originally known as Armistice Day, Veterans Day began as a celebration of the end of World War I. In 1918, on the 11th day of the 11th month, the 11th hour, hostilities ceased in a war that obliterated European landscapes, changed the course of history forever, as Germany agreed to the armistice and later signed the Treaty of Versailles on June 28, 1919. 1 year after the armistice agreement was signed on November 11, 1919, President Woodrow Wilson addressed the nation and declared, quote, "The reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the Council of Nations," end quote. Veterans Day didn't always celebrate all military veterans. Its roots are found in remembering the 116,000 Americans lost during the Great War, World War I, and the 320,000 who were wounded in that same war. But in the wake of even deadlier conflicts, including World War II and the Korean War, veterans of those wars lobbied Congress to change the name of the holiday from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. So, in 1954, Congress and President Dwight D. Eisenhower agreed, and November 11th became known as Veterans Day. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance and presentation of our nation's colors.
Gracious and Almighty God, on this Veterans Day, we gather in faith and gratitude to honor those who have served our nation with bravery and sacrifice. For those who have served, for those who continue to serve, and reflected in our actions today, ensuring that their service and their valor are never forgotten, and in especially Ukraine. And we ask all this in your name, amen.
Come. Oh. leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Green High School Cadet Dominic Stewart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and rockets red glare, the bells were singing, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order. College. Right. Right. Oh. Mark.
Please be seated.
Welcome, veterans, friends, and residents. As mayor of the city of Greenwood, it is a privilege to stand before you on this day each November to thank, to honor, and to remember all the men and women who serve and have served our country. Veterans Day is a day of honor for those who have dedicated their lives in service to our country and the defense of freedom worldwide. This past century, wars and conflicts have been fought abroad in places you and I may never see, and for reasons we may never understand. It is optimistic to believe in a peaceful world, but this is not the reality of mankind. If only we lived in a world where war, destruction, and needless killing did not occur. A world where an army is no longer necessary. As a world leader, America has a moral duty and obligation to support and protect ourselves and others against acts of aggression, terrorism, genocide, and other atrocities. For more than 200 years, servicemen and women have defeated countries in which tyranny reigns, freeing the oppressed and giving birth to freedom and liberty to peoples and nations around the globe. And as Americans, it is our duty to support our military men and women, those called to defend the freedom anywhere on earth. It is because of these and generations of them before that we are privileged to live in a free society with freedoms we often take for granted. The freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, and the freedom to worship as we choose. To our veterans in attendance here today, thank you for your service, your dedication, and your commitment to America. You You are truly the heroes among us today because of your faith, belief, and dedication to country and freedom for all, above self. And because of this, we extend our heartfelt gratitude every day, but especially on this Veterans Day. In keeping with our tradition, I am pleased to honor two heroes, veterans who are both alumni of Green High School, and coincidentally this year, first cousins by marriage. Ashley, would you please join? Ashley White joined the United States Army in 2003 while a senior at Green High School, leaving for basic training just 2 weeks after graduation in 2004. She joined the Army as a mechanic and advanced to various roles, including Human Resource Sergeant and Psychological Operations Sergeant. She currently is a Sergeant First Class and serves in Twinsburg, Ohio, under the United States Army Psychological Operations Command, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Throughout her career, she has served in Operation Iraq Freedom, and earlier this year, she returned home from a year-long deployment in Africa in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. She is also the proud wife of combat veteran First Sergeant Joshua DeGraw, and together they are proud parents of Billy White, a cadet in Green High School Air Force Junior ROTC program who is assisting in the ceremony today. Their son plans to enlist at the end of the high school career to follow his parents' esteemed careers in the military. Thank you, Sergeant First Class White, for your service to our country and community. Dan Pollock is currently a first lieutenant in the Ohio Army National Guard and serves as an intelligence officer for the 2nd Squadron of the 107th Cavalry Regiment in Hamilton, Ohio. He enlisted in the Ohio Army National Guard following high school in 2014. After basic training and intelligence training, he attended the Ohio State University through the ROTC program. He was commissioned as a 2nd Lieutenant and Military Intelligence Officer in 2019. In 2022, he was deployed to the Middle East in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. In recognition of his valor, he received numerous medals, including the Combat Action Badge, Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. In addition to his service, Dan owns a drone photography and videography business. He is married to his high school sweetheart, Liz, a 2015 Green graduate. Thank you, Dan, for your service to our country and our community.
At this time, we will conduct the traditional wreath-laying ceremony. And just a few reminders for our guests: it is custom to stand, if able, to recognize and honor the memory of all soldiers who have given their life in the line of duty defending freedoms and liberties that we as Americans cherish so greatly. The wreath itself has many meanings. Its circular shape represents eternity. It's got no beginning, it has no end. It represents an unending circle of everlasting life. The wreath that is placed here today symbolizes all of those lost at sea, killed and missing in action, and soldiers never recovered from the battlefield. Though these great men and women are no longer with us, We believe that their life and sacrifice carries on throughout eternity. It is appropriate for our civilians to place their right hand over their heart and our current and former military members to salute on the first note of taps. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we will have the full flagging ceremony. Performed by Green High School Junior ROTC. Born on June 14, 1777. The Second Continental Congress had determined that the flag of the United States would be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union would be 13 stars, white, in a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and the design of the flag has evolved into the flag that is presented to you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the 13 original colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag, they too are symbolic. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. And in 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July of 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on Space Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every proud American who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our United States, nor on the flag that we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's military remains committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, Americans have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. To continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all, and long may it wave. Our nation can boast of having a military that exemplifies bravery, courage, ingenuity, strength, honor, integrity, and the American spirit. This spirit is not bred into the men and women who serve our nation. They are born with it. The freedom of mankind is a God-given right. It is the desire of every man to live free. Our forefathers understood this and were so moved and convicted by this principle that they penned these words in our Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Since 1776, men and women of every race, of every creed, and religion have taken up arms displaying the characteristics of an American, in defining the American soldier and embracing and defending the spirit of freedom. It is now one of my favorite parts of the ceremony when we get to honor those who have served who are here today. So veterans, please stand to be recognized when you hear your branch of service anthem. The United States Army. United States Navy. United States Coast Guard. The United States Air Force. The United States Marines.
As we close our ceremony, I want to share that Green is partnering with the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution and Wreaths Across America to dress the graves of our veterans in Green's East Liberty and Greensburg cemeteries this holiday season. The program is 100% supported by donations and local volunteers. If you are interested in volunteering on December 16th, when we place the wreaths, or if you wish to sponsor a wreath for our local heroes, information will be available in the back of the room. Refreshments provided by the Green Branch of the Akron-Summit County Public Library are also available there immediately following our ceremony. In closing, to our servicemen and women around the globe, and to those of you who are with us today, we salute you for your valiant service to our country and defending the rights of people at home and abroad to live a life in a free society in which the power of government lies not within those who hold office, but among the governed. At this time, as is our custom, I invite all our veterans to line the wall on my right, so those in attendance may greet you and personally thank you for your service. Once the servicemen and women are in place, I invite all of you to join me in greeting them, starting from the front here and working our way back. Thank you, everybody, and God bless.